Hey there, festive friends. Welcome to our channel, where we're counting down the days to Christmas with all the cheer and joy you can handle. As we dive into the magic of the holiday season, we've got a special request for you. Help us reach 1,000 subscribers before the new year. Your subscription would be the best gift we could ask for this Christmas. So, if you enjoy our content and want to share in the holiday spirit with us, please hit that subscribe button. Let's make this New Year's a celebration by hitting that milestone together. Thanks for joining us, and let's make this festive season unforgettable. In the previous chapter, we saw Zhou Fan face Wen Tao's fierce empty gray sword wind technique. Despite the overwhelming power, Zhou Fan unleashed his divine eye of the void's space crusher, creating a chaotic clash. Even when Wen Tao's sword pierced his hand, Zhou Fan's sly smile revealed that this was all part of his plan. Let's begin the chapter. Scarlet blood dripped onto the ground, staining the earth a deep, ominous red. Zhou Fan's expression twisted in pain as his arm throbbed uncontrollably. His once nigh invincible right arm now trembled with pain, twitching with every surge of agony. In the distance, the girls from the mystical heaven sect gasped in shock and worry. Downer's voice broke through the tense silence, filled with panic. "Sister Qingcheng, he's hurt badly." Chu Qingcheng's brows furrowed lightly. Though she stayed silent, her heart clenched tightly. Her unwavering faith in Zhou Fan remained unshaken. No matter what challenges he faced, she believed with all her heart that this man would triumph. He always had, and he always would. Yet despite her unyielding confidence, a pang of worry gnawed at her. Seeing Zhou Fan's bloodied right arm struck a nerve. This wasn't mere admiration. Chu Qingcheng saw herself as Zhou Fan's woman, his other half, and to her, a woman who couldn't trust her man's strength wasn't worthy of calling herself his. Still, the sight of his pain filled her with a deep unease. It was a paradox, one that reflected the nature of women, filled with contradictions yet deeply emotional. She trusted him implicitly, yet she couldn't stop herself from worrying. Shui Rohua observed Chu Qingcheng's anxious expression and sighed inwardly. She had never thought less of this woman who stood firmly by Zhou Fan's side. In fact, watching her now, she could only feel admiration. Far from the sect girls, Yan Mo's loud voice echoed across the battlefield, dripping with disbelief. "What the hell? I couldn't even touch him, and a measly Wen Tao managed to pierce that freak's arm? How is this even possible?" Wu Qingqiu glanced at Yan Mo and chuckled, his tone laced with both amusement and wisdom. "Yan Mo, aren't you overestimating yourself? Wen Tao may be a notch below you, but he's no weakling. Besides, Zhou Fan was likely caught off guard by a sneak attack. It happens to the best of us, especially when the opponent exercises caution. Maybe he underestimated Wen Tao, considering he's from one of the middle three sects." Yan Mo's brows twitched in frustration. The idea of Zhou Fan, someone who had consistently matched and resisted him, making such a basic error was hard to swallow. Especially since Zhou Fan's actions and words had always exuded meticulous caution. His calculated behavior was maddeningly precise, a reflection of someone who never left anything to chance. So why now? Why would he suddenly slip up? While Yan Mo wrestled with his thoughts, a quiet voice broke through the noise. "What if... it's on purpose?" Yelin's calm, sharp eyes remained locked on Zhou Fan, his expression serious. Wu Qingqiu raised an eyebrow at the unexpected remark. "Junior brother, what are you talking about?" Even Yan Mo turned to look at Yelin, intrigued. "It's just a hunch," Yelin replied, his voice steady. "But I don't think someone like Zhou Fan would make such a careless mistake. If anything, this feels intentional." Wu Qingqiu rolled his eyes, a chuckle escaping his lips. "Junior brother, aren't you being a little too stubborn? Nobody's perfect, not even Zhou Fan. Everyone makes mistakes. You're putting him on a pedestal just because he caught your interest. Can't someone else besides you stand a chance against him? Come on, try convincing anyone else with that logic." Despite Wu Qingqiu's teasing, Ye Lin remained silent, his focus unwavering. He continued to study Zhou Fan, as if trying to unravel the mystery hidden behind that bloodied arm. Unbeknownst to them, someone else in the vast audience had already seen through Zhou Fan's act. Hidden in the shadows, a pair of gleaming eyes observed the scene with amusement. A low chuckle broke the silence. Ha ha ha, this punk is cunning indeed. He's using such a dramatic way to conceal his true wound. Danking Shen, stroking his beard, smiled in admiration. The kid's cleverness knows no bounds. That injury from the vaulting sword could only remain hidden for so long, but to think he'd orchestrate this entire spectacle, allowing someone else to strike his wounded arm just to mask its origins? Truly impressive, he continued to muse, his voice tinged with awe. Using his sect disciples as pawns against the Demon Soul sect, avoiding direct confrontation with Han Yunfeng to keep suspicions at bay, everything about his strategy is calculated. And now, using Wen Tao to land a believable blow? Remarkable. Anyone else would have made the mistake of faking this injury earlier, which would have raised doubts. But this boy? He doesn't leave loose ends. Danking Shen shook his head, a trace of regret in his tone. Such strength and sharpness. It's a pity I came here for the sword, or I'd have taken this kid with me. What a shame. His figure disappeared into the shadows as his voice faded. Back on the battlefield, Wen Tao groaned, making a hand sign. The sword embedded in Zhuo Fan's arm flew back to his grip. He stared at the blood-stained blade, then at Zhuo Fan's injured arm, his brows knitting together. Even he found it hard to believe he had landed such a heavy strike. Still, Wen Tao cupped his hands in mock respect, a wry smile on his lips. Ha 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 ha, Brother Zhuo, my apologies. That was unintentional. I hope you won't take it personally. Zhuo Fan flicked his wrist, sending droplets of blood splattering onto the ground. His voice was heavy, tinged with what seemed like anger. It's fine. Since you've gone all out, I suppose I shouldn't hold back either. Though his tone was sharp, Zhuo Fan's heart was alight with joy. Now I can fight without any restraints. Ha ha ha. Wen Tao's face twitched, but he quickly steadied himself. Brother Zhuo, I truly didn't mean for this to happen. I never imagined... You never imagined I wasn't as tough as my reputation suggests? Zhuo Fan interrupted, feigning outrage. Well then, Brother Wen, allow me to show you the full extent of my strength. Let's see if you can handle it. Wen Tao's expression hardened, and he nodded firmly. Very well. If Brother Zhuo wishes to go all out, I won't hold back either. With a swift motion, Wen Tao swung his sword. An invisible ripple shot forth, gliding through the air with deceptive grace. Unlike the raw, destructive force of Space Crusher, this attack was soft, like silk drifting on a gentle breeze. Wen Tao's voice rang out, calm and poetic. As a dinghy on a wave doth drift, and a willow branch bends in the wind so swift, never more than a finger lift, such is the way of peace and gift. He smiled, his eyes sharp. This sword is called ephemeral life. It is not a weapon of brute strength, but one of elegance and freedom. Even gentleness has power, Brother Zhuo. Take care. Zhuo Fan's eyes narrowed. He understood the meaning behind Wen Tao's words. This wasn't a sword that fought head-on. Its power lay in its gentleness, using softness to neutralize raw force. But Zhuo Fan also knew how to counter it. Raw power couldn't overpower gentleness. Instead, he needed a strike of absolute destruction, swift and unstoppable, to break through before the gentle force could gather momentum. A faint grin tugged at Zhuo Fan's lips as arcs of purple lightning danced around his clawed hand. Wen Tao's heart sank. His face twitched as he realized what was happening. Did I talk too much? By showing off, I let him figure out my sword's weakness. Brother Zhuo is truly an astute man to understand my gentle sword. Ha ha ha. Wen Tao glanced at the crackling purple lightning in Zhuo Fan's hand and let out an uneasy laugh. Zhuo Fan smirked, his sharp gaze unwavering. You're far too kind, Brother Wen. It's actually your demonstration that enlightened me. They say it's foolish to show all your cards before the fight even begins. But after seeing your actions and hearing your words, I've realized something. You didn't reveal your technique out of recklessness, but because you're a generous gentleman. Ha ha ha. The audience, captivated by the exchange, burst into laughter. Wen Tao's face flushed slightly, his demeanor now appearing modest. Whether you call it foolishness or gentlemanliness, I'm certain with Brother Zhuo's keen perception, you would have figured it out after a few moves regardless. So why not disclose it up front and earn a little goodwill? But knowing my sword's secret and defeating it are two very different things. With a sharp grin, Wen Tao raised his sword. The blade gleamed as he flicked it lightly, sending streaks of sword energy flying toward Zhuo Fan. Brother Zhuo, face the gentle sword, ever flowing and ever changing. The sword energy streaked through the air with a soft whoosh, rippling like water. Zhuo Fan's expression turned serious as he prepared himself. The crackling purple lightning on his right hand intensified, ready to counter any attack. But the moment the sword energies reached him, they softened, floating like gentle wisps of air. Before he could react, the soft strands of energy encircled him, trapping him in the center of their formation. Wen Tao's sword flashed again, releasing even more energy. In a blink, the sword energies multiplied into thousands of delicate strands that wove themselves into an intricate web around Zhuo Fan. Each strand swayed gently, yet the formation was unyielding. Watching from the sidelines, Fiend Yang's face darkened, and he groaned audibly. This kid is too overconfident. He didn't even bother to observe the middle three sects' battles. He has no idea what Wen Tao's gentle sword can do. Now he's caught in thousands of strands with no way out. Fiend Yin, standing nearby, looked equally grim. They both knew how dangerous this move was. Neither the Heaven Trailing sect nor the Demon Soul sect had been able to break free from it during their previous team battles. Even though Zhuo Fan was undoubtedly stronger, his ability to escape this intricate entrapment remained uncertain. Surprisingly, the one trapped in the center of this delicate web looked entirely unperturbed. Zhuo Fan's calm grin seemed out of place given his situation. His dragon-like claw crackled with lightning as he nonchalantly swiped at the strands. With a deafening crack, the purple lightning obliterated any sword energy it touched. The purple lightning embodies destruction, Ye Lin, observing from a distance, commented with a faint smile. Its raw power may be limited, but its destructive nature is unmatched. Wen Tao's gentle sword is no match for it. Despite his words, Ye Lin's expression grew more solemn. But knowing Wen Tao, he's not one to waste energy. If he's persisting, he must have a deeper strategy. Wu Qingqiu and Yan Mo exchanged thoughtful glances before nodding in agreement. As expected, Wen Tao didn't appear the least bit worried. Instead, he made a quick gesture with his fingers, commanding the shattered strands of sword energy to retreat. The scattered pieces didn't dissipate, but instead flowed back toward his sword, merging with the blade. Zhuo Fan's eyes narrowed as he felt the sword's energy surge dramatically. Wen Tao's ephemeral life technique had just revealed its true nature. Now Zhuo Fan understood. Wen Tao's gentle sword wasn't about overpowering the opponent directly. Its strength lay in its ability to flow with the opponent's energy, subtly absorbing and redirecting their force. The more one attacked the strands, the stronger the sword's energy became. It was a terrifying technique, subtle, unyielding, and infinitely patient. So that's what you meant by knowing and defeating it are two different things, Zhuo Fan muttered under his breath. He smirked, his eyes gleaming with excitement. But I don't do patience. If your sword's strength comes from dragging the fight out, then I'll just end it in one blow. Without hesitation, Zhuo Fan charged forward, his claw crackling with destructive energy. The strands of soft sword energy moved to block his path, but Zhuo Fan wasn't about to let them stall him again. With a thunderous roar, his lightning-infused claw tore through the strands, leaving a clear path in its wake. The scattered remnants of the sword energy flowed back to Wen Tao's blade, bolstering its power once more. Wen Tao's expression shifted slightly. He waved his sword again, transforming the soft strands into hard, razor-sharp spikes that lunged at Zhuo Fan from all directions. Zhuo Fan didn't flinch. With a flick of his wrist, the purple lightning shattered the hardened strands just as easily as the soft ones. Realizing the futility of his current approach, Wen Tao quickly shifted tactics. He made another series of intricate hand signs, calling all the remaining sword energy back to his blade. The sword's edge now glowed with an almost blinding intensity, radiating an aura of immense power. Zhuo Fan reached Wen Tao in an instant, his claw poised to strike. Wraith style, second move, ghostly dragon claw. Wen Tao met the attack head-on. His voice rang out steady and confident. Soft to hard, heaven-breaking sword. In the blink of an eye, Wen Tao's blade, which had moved with the grace of flowing water moments ago, now struck with the weight of a mountain. It was as if the entire world's force had condensed into that single stab. Zhuo Fan's claw, fueled by the destructive power of the Qilin, surged forward with unmatched ferocity. The two forces collided with an ear-piercing clang that reverberated across the battlefield. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the air, forcing the spectators to shield their eyes. When the dust settled, Zhuo Fan stood firm, his expression calm. Wen Tao, on the other hand, was thrown several meters back, his feet skidding across the ground before he came to a halt. Blood trickled from the corner of Wen Tao's mouth as he stared at Zhuo Fan in disbelief. How is this possible? He thought, his mind racing. My full power strike couldn't even scratch him, yet a casual blow from him sent me flying. Just what kind of monster is he? Zhuo Fan, meanwhile, appeared deep in thought. Though he had emerged victorious in the clash, he couldn't shake the feeling of unease. Wen Tao's technique is truly remarkable. Gentle sword isn't just about being soft or hard, it's the perfect balance of both. Still, I can't let him build momentum. If I give him even a moment to recover, this fight could drag on longer than I'd like. Despite his internal musings, Zhuo Fan's face remained impassive. He stepped forward, his movements deliberate and composed. Brother Wen, you're a formidable opponent, Zhuo Fan said, his voice calm but laced with a hint of amusement. But this fight is over. Unless you've got another trick up your sleeve, I suggest you surrender now. Wen Tao wiped the blood from his mouth and chuckled weakly. I've never been one to retreat, Brother Zhuo, but don't think for a second that I was fighting alone. The real battle starts now. As if on cue, the remaining 9 disciples of the Sword God sect stepped forward, their swords drawn and their gazes sharp. The battlefield was about to erupt into chaos.